Everyone was taken aback by Keela's proposal. Suspecting it might be a trap, Nei sighed deeply before turning to Keela with sudden enthusiasm, asking if he was a member of the guild. Nei explained that if they used their guild as a branch of the Fair Blessings Guild, they could expect significant profits, at least 5 times more than their current earnings. Keela, immediately changing his stance, stepped back from Nei with newfound respect and agreed to the proposal. He even turned to Karen to persuade her to accept this beneficial deal, a complete reversal from his initial skepticism. Karen was still hesitant and asked for Shiro's opinion. He suggested they hear more from Nei before making a decision. The group moved to Keela's office, where Shiro, Karen, and Nei sat facing each other. Shiro inquired why Nei's guild was interested in opening a branch in Nino. Nei explained that a few days earlier, a teenager from their guild had discovered a dungeon map of the area, seemingly crafted by an ancient magical civilization. This unprecedented discovery was dubbed the "Find of the Century." Crucially, these ruins were located right here, in the Western Forest, with countless sites like ancient kingdoms, labyrinths, and temples. Hearing about this potential, Karen stood up excitedly, almost unable to believe it. She realized that the Labyrinth Raiders' desire to set up a branch here was likely because they also knew about this discovery and wanted to monopolize it. Usually, they would use force, but this time they were denied, so Nei, representing the Fair Blessings Guild, came to negotiate with the intent to use all their resources to explore the sites. The reason for choosing Nino Rich was Shiro's shop. Nei had seen the items sold there and was impressed, believing it would greatly benefit their guild. Therefore, he hoped Shiro would consider opening another shop within their guild. Karen pondered for a moment before asking Nei about the conditions the Fair Blessings Guild would require if they opened a branch in Nino. Nei was initially surprised but became furious when Shiro explained the demands made by Inspector Gabus. Nei was shocked that Gabus, after securing the rights to open a branch, dared to make such outrageous demands, not to mention his harassment and sexual misconduct. However, when it came to the Fair Blessings Guild, Nei's demeanor remained calm. He explained that their guild, fully owned by the Silver Moon Society, would agree to the terms to start their business without constructing new structures. However, their staff would need accommodations for meals and rest, which they could finance by building an inn and renting the necessary equipment. Karen found this offer too appealing to resist. Clearing her throat, she stood and extended her hand, declaring that Nino Rich would be honored to collaborate with Nei's guild. Nei was equally delighted to have successfully completed his mission. With that, the previously inactive Silver Moon Society transformed into the largest branch in the country, blessed by the Fair Blessings Guild. It was a spectacular turnaround for everyone involved. Anna, a young and naive girl, lived a simple yet happy life with her small family of 3. At just 4 years old, she enjoyed the comfort of their modest home with her loving parents. However, a dark and ominous day shattered their peace. Their village was engulfed in the fiery chaos of war. Ferocious red flames consumed everything, turning their cherished home and Anna's treasured toys into ashes. The scene was heart-wrenching, but the most painful part for the little girl was watching her father leave to fulfill his duty as a soldier, a responsibility expected of every citizen. 2 years passed, and her father had yet to return. Now 6 years old, Anna's world was forever changed by the absence of her beloved parent. Anna's mother told her they needed to move to another town. Anna protested, fearing that if her father returned and couldn't find them, he would be heartbroken. Seeing her daughter's distress, Anna's mother could only offer silent hugs and tears. Eventually, they left their old home and, after crossing many borders, arrived in Nino. When asked why she chose such a remote place, Anna's mother explained it was because the war wouldn't reach there. She didn't want anyone else to leave. Living in the border town wasn't easy, and ensuring her daughter had enough to eat was a constant struggle. Anna's mother ate as little as possible to save food for her. In their second year in Nino, Anna's mother fell gravely ill and apologized for not being able to provide for her. Anna blamed herself, feeling like a burden. She cried a lot but realized it wouldn't help unless she grew up. Determined, she placed her favorite toy in front of the mirror, looked at her reflection, and made a significant decision. Using their meager savings, she obtained a permit to sell flowers at the market. From dawn to dusk, Anna covered every corner of Nino Rich. One day, she met a kind stranger who not only bought many flowers but also offered her a good job. Anna always expressed her gratitude to God whenever she could. The day she received her first paycheck of 10 silver coins was monumental. She had long thought about how she would spend it. For Anna, this amount of money was vast, and it was the first time she had ever seen so much wealth. Despite facing hardships from a young age, Anna maintained a simple faith. When a group of travelers claimed to possess a miraculous cure, Anna, without any hesitation, spent all her savings, hoping it would heal her mother. Unfortunately, no miracle occurred, and her mother's condition remained unchanged. This left Anna feeling desperate and clueless about how to cure her mother's illness. She realized that money was the key. Only with sufficient funds could she take her mother to the city for proper treatment. Determined to find a solution, Anna turned to Shiro, hoping he could save her from this predicament. She was willing to endure any hardship and perform even the most exhausting tasks if it meant helping her mother recover. Contrary to her expectations, Shiro did not take advantage of her desperation. Instead, he offered a gentle smile, softly patting her head and showing his understanding of her struggle. Liar, however, couldn't maintain his composure. Furious, he punched the wall, venting his anger at the con artists who sold the fake medicine to Anna. He vowed to find them and deliver not just 10 but 100 punches in retribution. Nesca tried to calm Liar, preventing further destruction. Ralph approached Anna more directly, explaining that the medicine she bought was a scam and couldn't cure her mother's illness. He mentioned that while there were remedies for detoxification and wound healing, no medicine existed that could cure all ailments. Anna, clinging to a shred of hope, argued that the travelers had convinced her the treatment would improve her mother's condition. Ralph patiently told her she had been deceived. The realization that she had been tricked echoed painfully in Anna's mind, leaving her in stunned silence. Tears streamed down Anna's face as she regretted wasting her hard-earned savings on a scam. Shiro couldn't bear to see her distress and turned away, while Liar's rage boiled over. In a fit of anger, he kicked a glass door, shattering it. He declared to Ralph his intent to hunt down the con artists and exact revenge. Ralph, Keela, and Nesca volunteered to join Liar on his quest for justice. While Liar and his group prepared to track down the scammers, Shiro, Karen, and Ralph visited Anna's home to check on her mother. During their walk, Ralph explained to Shiro about the serious illness affecting Anna's mother, known as the rot. This disease, as described by some travelers, caused limbs to decay gradually, weakening the afflicted and often proving terminal. Scholars were uncertain about its contagious nature or why it struck. Upon reaching Anna's home, they were struck by the realization of the little girl's daily struggle. A somber silence filled the air. Anna, brimming with enthusiasm, opened the door and welcomed them in. She led Shiro inside, where they found a small, modest room with a bed and a few essentials. Lying there was Stella, Anna's frail and weak mother. She introduced herself to Shiro, expressing her deep gratitude for all the help he had given Anna. Stella tried to sit up, feeling it was inappropriate to remain in bed while receiving guests. However, Shiro gently insisted she stay lying down and rest. Anna then introduced the other woman in the room as the town's mayor, Karen. Stella was visibly shocked and questioned why the mayor would visit their humble home. Ralph stepped in to explain that they had come after hearing about her illness. Stella apologized for the inconvenience, but Mayor Karen insisted it was she who should apologize, expressing her regret for not being able to do more for her citizens. Stella responded gratefully, noting how lucky the town was to have such considerate outsiders. She was surprised to hear about the many friends Anna had made, including the mayor, Shiro, Ralph, and others. Stella felt a sense of relief and gratitude for her daughter's fortunate social connections. Guessing that her mother might be hungry, Anna decided to cook a meal. She prepared soup for everyone with Ralph's help in the kitchen, leaving Karen, Shiro, and Stella alone in the room. Stella gently requested a private word with Shiro. Once alone, She voiced a deep concern that had been weighing on her mind. Although it felt imposing, she asked Shiro if he could take care of Anna after her death. Shiro was taken aback by Stella's unexpected request. She continued, apologizing for her bluntness, but explained that her time was running short and she assumed Shiro had heard about her illness from Anna. Stella asked if Anna had cried while talking about it. Shiro hesitantly confirmed this, and Stella's expression grew even sadder. She knew Anna must have cried, despite trying her best to remain strong. Anna felt powerless in her inability to save her mother. Stella felt responsible as Anna's mother, regretting that she couldn't take better care of her daughter. It pained her even more to know that Anna often forced herself to smile just to avoid worrying her. However, recently something had changed. Anna began to genuinely smile whenever she talked about Shiro, seeing him as a kind older brother figure. Stella now understood why those feelings reminded her of Anna's father. She admitted that the first time she saw Shiro, she was startled, almost believing her long-lost partner had returned. Shiro, surprised and moved, apologized to Stella. She trembled slightly, her memory of her husband fading. However, Shiro's presence helped her remember his face clearly, comforting her with the thought that finding him in the afterlife might not be far off. Gathering her strength, Stella shakily stood and moved toward Shiro. Her legs wobbled, barely supporting her. She begged him to look after Anna, fearing for the young girl's vulnerability and inevitable tears. Anna was only 8 years old and would be lost without her. As Stella reached her limit, she collapsed in front of Shiro. He quickly caught her, reassuring her and gently placing her back on the bed. Shiro then made an unusual request. He asked for permission to touch Stella's legs. Though surprised and somewhat embarrassed, Stella trusted him, knowing he meant no harm. She closed her eyes and agreed. Facing Stella sitting on the bed, Shiro knelt in front of her, gently lifting and examining her legs. It seemed like he might know what was causing her illness. Filled with joy, Shiro excitedly told Stella that he might have found the cause and cure for her disease. His uncle's disease had worse symptoms than hers. Now that Shiro was confident he could heal her, Stella began to cry. The years of pain and suffering she had endured were overwhelming. She clutched Shiro's hand tightly, admitting she wasn't ready to die because she didn't want to leave Anna alone. The hope in Shiro's eyes shone brightly as he held Stella's hand reassuringly. Just then, the door opened, and Karen peeked in to see if their conversation was finished. She mentioned that Anna and Ralph had finished preparing the meal. Shiro tensed up, turning to face the 3 people at the door, realizing how intimate his position with Stella might seem. As Shiro recalled the scene, a headache began to brew, but he was grateful for Stella's clear explanation, which saved him from any misunderstanding. After lunch, Shiro gave a lecture about the disease called rot in their world, pointing to a silhouette of a human on the board. He explained that in his homeland, this disease was known as beriberi, caused by a nutritional deficiency. It's a frightening disease because it can lead to paralysis, but it's also easily cured with the right intake of vitamins. Anna eagerly asked if there was really a cure that could save her mother's life. Shiro confirmed its existence and then stepped out, opening a portal between 2 worlds. He entered a room with an altar, knelt down, and remembered his grandmother's words, reminding him to help those in need whenever he could. Shiro then converted foreign currency into Japanese yen using an equivalent exchange rate. A few moments later, he handed a box of medicine to Stella, explaining that although the pills might look strange, they could cure the disease known as rot. Karen and Ralph were skeptical about the safety of the orange pills. Stella assumed they must be very expensive, but Shiro reassured her, saying she didn't need to worry about the cost and explaining his payment plan. Since Shiro arrived in the town, Anna had been incredibly helpful to him, and now it was his turn to help her. Overwhelmed with emotion, Anna clung to Shiro's hand, tears streaming down her face. A month later, during another visit to Stella's home, Anna and Shiro were overjoyed to see that Stella could now take a few steps. Anna's voice trembled with emotion as she asked her mother if she was really walking again. Stella confirmed she was getting stronger every day and that her full recovery was only a matter of time. Anna, barely able to contain her emotions, asked if she could sleep beside her mother now that she was better. With a mix of reluctance and affection, Stella agreed, promising they would sleep together that night. Unable to hold back any longer, Anna ran to her mother, hugged her tightly, and cried. It had been a long time since she could hug her mother with such strength, maybe not since the disease first took hold. From now on, they would always be together. Shiro was deeply moved by the scene, tears welling up in his eyes. Silently, he closed the door to give mother and daughter their privacy. Stepping outside, he felt a sense of pride, knowing he could now tell his grandmother that he had truly helped someone in need. She would be proud of him. Shiro sat on the balcony of the building, reflecting on the events of the past 2 months. On this beautiful day, Anna's mother had fully recovered after taking the vitamin supplements. Anna was overjoyed, sharing that they had stayed up late talking, leading to little sleep. Her mother had cooked vegetable soup and many other dishes, and Anna had picked flowers for her. They even had a friendly competition, making each other laugh. Shiro couldn't help but laugh too, happy to see Anna so joyful, as an 8-year-old girl should be. Meanwhile, the Silver Moon Society had officially joined forces with the Fairy Blessing Guild as a leading branch. The Azure Sky team would operate under their banner. More travelers were showing up, eager to explore the vast forest. Shiro had earned nearly 500 million yen in the last 2 months. At this rate, he thought, he might be able to retire after just 1 year of hard work. Lost in thoughts of a future where he wouldn't have to work anymore, Shiro didn't notice Karen sneaking up behind him. Playfully, she asked what was on his mind. Startled, Shiro turned to find the smiling mayor greeting him warmly. She asked what he was drinking and told him it was a special liquor from her hometown, offering him a taste. Unable to refuse, the two soon found themselves tipsy and laughing heartily. Shiro, his face flushed, eventually rested his head on Karen's lap. Karen, clearly drunk, began to speak from the heart, thanking Shiro for everything he had done for the town. She earnestly told him that if he ever needed anything, he should not hesitate to ask. Shiro, sitting up, insisted that what he did was simply his duty and nothing worthy of such gratitude. He shared how he was raised by his grandmother, who always taught him to help those in need, believing that when in trouble, others would support him too. Karen admired Shiro's values and curiously asked the name of his grandmother. Shiro smiled and revealed it was Arisu-gu. Karen repeated the name, then asked in surprise if Shiro was the grandson of the legendary Arisu. Shiro was taken aback to hear that Karen knew her. Karen explained that Arisu was a famous figure across the continent, though few had seen her in person. Karen recounted meeting the wizard during the Harvest Festival last year, where Arisu appeared, joyfully dancing in the town while drunk. She remembered Arisu performing the Maipon star spell, made from fragments of stars she had gathered under the clear night sky. Shiro motioned for Karen to pause, needing a moment to absorb the flood of information. He recalled reading in one of his grandmother's old books about a wizard named Ruo from 80 years ago, which was around the time his grandmother was born. Karen, intrigued, asked what he thought about the Maipon spell. Shiro reminisced about his childhood, remembering his grandmother showing him a photo of her favorite actor, Mel Gibson. This connection could explain the mysterious spell, revealing that the person behind it was indeed his grandmother. Karen continued to express her amazement that Shiro's grandmother was a famous wizard. No wonder he possessed so many unusual items. Shiro mentioned that it had been 7 years since he last saw her. Moving to the balcony railing, he shouted loudly, declaring that his grandmother was still alive. His voice echoed through the mountains, affirming his words. The day before, after discovering that the famous wizard Arisu was indeed his grandmother, Shiro felt a mix of excitement and longing. Karen, noticing his eagerness, suggested he wait until the Harvest Festival to seek her out, as Arisu often made appearances at its conclusion. This year marked the festival's 120th anniversary, and Karen planned to make it special. With 2 months to go, she asked Shiro for help with some of the festival preparations. Shiro, who loved festivals, decided to put his quest to find his grandmother on hold and immediately agreed to help Karen. He also saw potential business opportunities with food stalls during the festival. Traditional attractions like raffles, goldfish scooping, and shooting targets seemed overdone and might not draw much attention. He needed something more unique. Frustrated, Shiro racked his brain for childhood memories that might spark an idea. Suddenly, inspiration struck. The next day, several cameras were laid out on a table, piquing Anna's curiosity. Shiro explained that these were no ordinary cameras, but a remarkable invention he had prepared. Seeing her confusion, he began to demonstrate how they worked. Shiro demonstrated the camera to Anna by taking her picture. When the camera clicked and the image appeared, Anna was initially shocked, stuttering in disbelief and wondering if she had shrunk and was trapped inside. Shiro chuckled and explained that the camera was like a magical device that captured images instantly. He took a few more photos of her, which she examined with delight. Anna then tried taking a photo of Shiro. Despite it being her first time using a camera, she managed to capture a beautiful shot that she loved. Pointing to another device nearby, Anna asked what it was. Shiro explained it was a Polaroid camera. Intrigued, Anna admired its variety, and to test it, Shiro snapped a candid photo of Anna when she wasn't paying attention, capturing a funny expression on her face. In a playful revenge, Anna started taking unflattering pictures of Shiro. Amused by this feature, Anna thought of her grandmother and remarked, "Like grandmother, like grandson." Their playful moment was interrupted when Stella entered the room, beaming with a smile and thanking Shiro for looking after Anna all day. Anna rushed to hug her mother, asking if she was tired from the recent cleaning. They were living in a house Shiro had rented for them, just a 10-minute walk from his shop. Playfully, Anna accused her mother of being a terrible cleaner, making Stella laugh. Shiro offered his help, but Anna hesitated, admitting that he wasn't very good at cleaning either. Amused by their embarrassment, they all shared a meal together. Afterward, they said their goodbyes, with Shiro promising to meet them again soon as he headed back to his shop. The adventurers of Silver Moon had joined the Fair Blessing Association as a branch, transforming their tranquil days into a whirlwind of activity. In just 2 months, they had become some of the busiest people in the Kingdom of Giller. Shiro visited the Silver Moon headquarters, and as soon as he walked in, Emile saw him and waved playfully, asking if he was there to finally acknowledge her or give her a lavish gift. Shiro rolled his eyes at Emile's teasing, explaining that he was there simply because they had planned to have dinner together. But Emile seemed to have other ideas, lost in her own fantasy. She declared she was ready to be his wife at any moment, imagining them riding a noble dragon and scattering coins as she spoke. Emile started unbuttoning her shirt, causing Shiro to panic and shout for her to stop. Unfazed, she climbed onto the table, gazing at him longingly. It was lunchtime, but Emile had a different idea of how to spend it. Shiro found himself cornered against a wall with no escape, forcing him to grab Emile's hands and push her away. Despite this, Emile seemed too used to Shiro's reactions to be deterred. She moved closer, her lips puckering for a kiss. Shiro broke into a sweat, terrified. Just as Shiro thought he was going to lose his first kiss, Keela appeared, delivering a swift kick that separated them. Shiro was so relieved he nearly cried. Later, at the bar, Keela had to console him. The approaching full moon season made the rabbit folk more restless than usual, but Ralph and Nesket were determined not to let that affect them. Emile's aggressive advances on Shiro were not a sign of a healthy relationship. Shiro, nearly shivering with anger, burst out, demanding to know why she couldn't leave him alone. No one wanted to be left alone like that, especially when a heated argument broke out at the next table and quickly escalated into a physical fight. Spectators began placing bets on the outcome of the brawl, and Shiro was about to step in to stop it. However, a liar held him back, explaining that fights were common among adventurers like them. The best of the best had gathered here, seeking ancient relics since the place became a branch of the Fairy Blessing Association 2 months ago. With no significant finds, frustration was building up in Nino Rich, where there were no outlets for entertainment or venting anger. Fights were a regular occurrence until they were settled. Just then, the door swung open, and the guild leader entered, commanding silence. He coldly announced that no one was allowed to cause trouble in his association. Everyone scattered, and the two fighters reluctantly stopped and left. Nei approached Shiro's table, greeting him sternly. She then turned to Emile, who was hiding under the table, demanding to know why she didn't stop the fight. Without waiting for an explanation, Nei dragged Emile away for a private reprimand. With the area finally quiet, the liar revealed something important to Shiro. The previous week, their group had encountered an unusual flower they had never seen before and thought Shiro might know something about it. Shiro suggested they go together to the flower's location for a closer inspection, provided the group ensured its protection from any animals. The liar agreed firmly, stating that their group was much more capable now. They raised their glasses to celebrate their collaboration.